As anyone who's been watching the channel for quite some time knows, Toypixx is not really a news channel, but that doesn't mean I don't want to talk about some upcoming figures. But as always, I talk about stuff from a photographer's point of view. So, welcome to the first installment of Photogenic Figures? Question mark? Cue it! Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Photo Dave, and this is Toypixx. And whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about action figure photography. I talk action figures, I talk photography. I talk about why I collect certain figures, what's going on in the action figure industry. I talk about Photoshop tips and tricks, tutorials, things like that, photography equipment. I just posted yesterday a Photoshop tutorial on how I did Cyclops I-beams in one of my images, for instance. Check that out. Anywho, if that's the kind of thing that appeals to you, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And afterwards, hey, let's get going on what I'm talking about when I talk about news. Looking forward to a lot of action figures and whether or not they're going to be photogenic figures. Let's kick this off with shocker of shockers, some Mafex love. Yesterday I started seeing pictures for Black Noir and Rescue from Endgame. And oh my goodness, these two figures, I think, are in fact going to be photogenic figures. First, let's talk a little bit about Black Noir. Now, if you're a big fan of the boys, you know that Black Noir, he kind of started the series in a highly gruesome way. Pretty crazy stuff. I never actually read the comic, but I've been enjoying the Amazon show. Anywho, you look at this figure and you can see he's kind of he looks to be not a totally matte black, maybe sort of a semi-gloss black. And one thing that's really cool about figures that are dressed in black is how the light hits them. Somehow, I just find that using figures like Snake Eyes and Catwoman, who are both pretty much in all black suits, the light just really plays off that uniform really well. It's also why I'm reasonably confident that Storm, in Jim Lee's costume version, is actually wearing black, or at the very least silver, because light does not play off of white the way that it was drawn in the comics. But I digress, you know, I don't want to open that can of worms. But obviously, Black Noir is a Mafex figure. His articulation's going to be incredible, which always helps with the photogenic possibilities. And speaking of Snake Eyes, if you look at this thing and you give him a few Snake Eyes accessories, maybe try and pop on a Snake Eyes head, you've got a figure that could be another Snake Eyes. Now, personally, I think Hasbro's nailing Snake Eyes pretty well, and we don't really need another one. We don't need to customize one, but if you feel so inclined, you can make a pretty sweet Snake Eyes out of this Black Noir. You know, if you're in that market to do so. And now, what about Rescue? Folks, I think Rescue looks incredible. Now, I don't get MCU figures, not because I don't think they look great, but they're just outside of my collecting purview. I don't like to get movie characters because that would just be a whole other rabbit hole. And frankly, as it is, my wallet at this point is only plotting my death. It hasn't actually pulled the trigger just yet. Anywho, let's talk about Rescue a bit. I think this figure is going to be great under the lights. You look at her and they seem to have really nailed that metallic finish, that look. We know it's not going to be metal, but the ultra shiny is nice. You've got one of the pictures with her crouching down that looks like, hey, it's Mafex articulation. You know this thing's going to move. She's got all kinds of pieces. She's got plenty of hand accessories, it looks like from the pictures. Her Gwyneth head even looks pretty good. I will say it's not perfect, and I wish that the hair weren't quite so yellow, but for the purposes of photography, if you have just the visor up head, and even the Gwyneth head could look right under the right lights, I think that this thing is just going to look remarkable, especially if you hit it with some hard light on one side, fairly soft light on the other. That'll just really show the shine on the hard light side, but show the detail on the soft light side. I think that Rescue is going to look very good in a lot of pictures, and I can't wait to see what everybody does with her when they start getting her. Next up, from what I can tell, there's a new company out of China called Heat Boys. And what they're making are some 9-inch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mech suits, it looks like. Now, these are intriguing, something I'm going to be keeping my eye on. They're possibly outside of my collecting purview, but depending on when they come out and how things are going at the time and what they end up looking like when they're painted up, I might be interested in these things. A lot of people are saying they're too big for them because they're 9 inches. I look at them and they look to me like they could be some kind of mech suit that Donatello whipped up for the boys to get inside, or maybe just good old-fashioned robots that Donatello put together so that the turtles could control them from afar. I don't know. There's just something intriguing about these suits. I really like robot designs. I just don't have a lot of them in my collection, so having an excuse to possibly get them as turtles could be something that I'd be interested in. This is just something I'm going to keep my eye on. It might be cool, it might not. We don't know much about the articulation, but even if it were kind of limited, they're huge, giant mech suits, so I don't expect them to get into Spider-Man poses. Something else that is outside of my collecting purview, but somehow I still find kind of interesting and even a little appealing, even though they don't come with tons of accessories, are McFarlane's first wave of 7-inch Page Puncher figures. There's something about Superman, Batman, and Black Adam specifically that I just find really appealing. Again, 7-inch figures, they're outside of my collecting purview, but there's just something about them that I haven't really seen, aside from more of the monster figures, from McFarlane's DC Multiverse line, and I can't put my finger on it. I will say I'm not a big fan of Constantine. Like, you look at Superman and Batman and Black Adam, and it's like there's life in those head sculpts. But you look at Constantine, and it's more like it looks like a head sculpt. I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't look lifelike. The others, there's some kind of life to them. And Superman comes with fists, and he comes with flight posing hands, so I think that's sweet. I think people could actually get some really good poses out of the Superman in particular. But the Black Adam just looks like a monster, beefy dude. Kind of like maybe somebody thought, hey, I wonder what would happen if The Rock played Black Adam. Yeah, weird, isn't it? But then you got Batman, who looks pretty good. I wish he came with some more hand options and all that. But I think that apart from Constantine, I think that people are really going to be able to get some sweet shots out of those figures from McFarlane's first series of Page Punchers. And truly, I can't wait to see them because, man, if I were into the 7-inch scale, I would be tempted, especially by the Black Adam and the Superman and the Batman, if he had more going for him as far as stuff. Okay, so that was a pretty short episode for my first Photogenic Figures, ? But still, I figured I'd test out the water, see what everybody thought of this. I wanted to let you know that Ami right now has Rescue and Black Noir up for sale for $68.29 USD. Now, To get it shipped over here, I tend to use DHL when I'm ordering, and I use AmiAmi for all my import figures. So I think DHL runs you around 22, it's like 22 to 25 bucks a figure. So it would be best to probably batch them together and all that. The thing is, with Mafex, you never know what's coming out when, so I tend not to batch them with all that. So it would run you about 90 bucks, maybe a little more, to order from AmiAmi if you use DHL. But that is what I do. I recommend them. They've never steered me wrong. And I just think that's a pretty decent deal when you look at the price on other places. I don't have an Amazon link. They're not up yet, but I can guarantee you AmiAmi's a better deal than Amazon would be anyway, because by the time these things hit Amazon, they're at secondary market prices. I haven't found a link yet for the Page Punchers as far as pre-orders are concerned, but pictures are out there, so I'm sure those will be coming up anytime. And obviously with the turtles, we got nothing. Right now, we pretty much just have prototype images, so we're not going to have pre-order information on those just yet. But anyway, I'm going to put an Amazon affiliate link on the bottom. I'm going to see if I can find just something absolutely ludicrous to put down there, so you can click on it and maybe get a chuckle. If you want to support the channel, click on that link, find something you need on Amazon, go ahead and purchase it. It helps out. I appreciate it. And folks, I appreciate you just giving the channel a view. It always helps. Every little thing helps. So if you can like, comment, subscribe, maybe comment, let me know truly what you thought of this kind of video, and maybe I'll keep them going, because hey, I want to talk about this upcoming stuff, but again, I got to talk about them from a perspective that I can enjoy, like how cool they're going to look under the light. So that's it for this one, everybody. As always, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.